Hear that sort of chirp sound in the high end, and that's really what I wanted in this track. I wanted that sound to pop out more. So what I did, this is quick, in my opinion, random mixing tip: get third party compressors, EQs, and stuff like that, because they really help. They have a different sound than your usual Fruity Loops compressor and Logic compressor, regular compressors that you're going to have already in your program. So try to get third party EQs. I really suggest getting either investing or everybody's doing it. Most people did. I did a little bit on this one. Yeah. Get the Waves bundle and mess around with what they have because they have a lot of good stuff. I'm definitely going to invest some money into them once I get the cash for it. But this is a CLA 3A. It's a really good uh, compressor and limiter. I use it usually for drums, but this one I like the sound from it. So you hear that high part really stick out more. It punches. And as you can see with the VU meter right here, the compression from it hitting so hard, but still you want. And then I added some EQ to get rid of the low end. This is another Waves EQ. And then one more, because they had different options. That's the reason why I have two EQs on this one sound to sound like that. Really high and still enough punch to stick out in the mix. Okay? One of the points that I wanted to make was using the tools that you had. And a lot of people, if not everybody who's making beats, they have a keyboard, like a key station, M Audio, whatever, with pitch bend. And pitch bend can add a lot more than just a slight change in pitch. You can use it rapidly and make a different kind of sound or add motion to a certain sound that you're using, such as this lead that I used here. All that was made by was just rapidly hitting down the pitch bend so that it would give it that little flair. I could have just pressed the notes and just went. I could have just went like that, but instead I wanted to play around with it more. And it gives it something a lot more than just playing it. Now we'll get to the drums, because a lot of people need to know about mixing their drums. That's some of the worst areas I've heard in mixing with a lot of producers. Even myself, I'm still mastering getting my kicks and my snares and everything to not clash. And it's always going to be a feat depending on your track that you're making. So I'm gonna start with this kick. It came from a vibe kit. Everybody pretty much has it that's making all these trap beats. So you can pretty much make your own hit also, but I just got lazy and this is the one that I'm using. So without any compression or EQing, you're just gonna have a kick that sounds, basically it's really flat. Everybody thinks it punches more than what they have in the kits that they've downloaded before they've gotten a Johnny kit or Superstar O kit. It's not really about that. It's what they do to the sounds that they've had that makes them have that allows them to make their own kits. And regardless, in my opinion, you still have to do something to those kicks to get what you want. To get a real strong punch and everything, you're going to have to do something to it. And for me what I do with any kicks that I have, I'll throw on some kind of compressor to really get a punch from it. And that's what's gonna make everything bump. That's gonna make your speakers look like they're really thumping hard, not just by turning up the volume. If you know what a compressor does, then you know how to control it. You know how to get the sound that you want. And here's a little bit of education for everybody who doesn't know what a compressor does. For this is your basic compressor. It has a gain. Let's zoom in a little bit. It has a gain, a threshold, attack, release, and a ratio. The main things that are really going to give you that punch are the threshold and the gain that you put back on it. What a compressor is going to do is going to, as you see, it's reducing. Let me turn. As you see, it's reducing the the gain that was already on it. If the sound is loud, then it's going to get reduced some. And that's, you control that with the threshold, how much it's going to get compressed. As you see, if I bring this down, it's going to squash the hell out of the sound. You really don't want that. The threshold is basically telling the compressor when to kick in, when to start pushing down all the punch or the level that's going into it. So you set that at a certain level, whatever sounds good to you. I'm not going to give you numbers and stuff to set your compressors to, because it all varies. Okay, and so your compressor threshold and your ratio, they go hand in hand. Because if you bring down the threshold a little bit, then you bring up the ratio, it's showing basically that 25 to 1 is basically saying that, like, for every decibel, that's what you measure volume in. For every decibel that's going in there, it's going to reduce it 25. If you set that all the way back to 1, then you're not getting any compression at all. You see, it's not moving. But if I bring that up, you start seeing it. Start seeing it move. And at the same time, you have your gain knob over here. And that's what you use to crank back up what's being compressed. So it sounds like it's going against each other, but actually it helps out a lot. It brings up the everything that's not really getting compressed, everything that's on the bottom that you're not hearing, it's going to bring all of that up. And everything that you can hear, that's what the threshold brings down just a little bit. So it squashes it together. So all the levels and the volumes are put together. Levels, volumes, same word. That's what I think you really need to put on a kick in order to get it to punch, not just turn up the volume. Other thing is an EQ. An EQ is going to help you place that sound in your mix. For me, like, I really hear the punch of a kick around 100, 200 hertz. And then I cut off everything at the high, and this is just a solid punch kick, so I really don't need anything really around 50 hertz, so I cut that off too. I get a kick like that. And the reason also that I have that cut at 50 is because there's a bass line in this beat. Right there. And a way to get your bass line not to fight is using your EQ. As you see, right here at 200. And